Tom lived in a small desert town far from the noise of the cities. The air was dry, the roads were dusty, and the nights were full of stars. Tom worked at a local repair shop where he fixed old machines, radios, and sometimes broken furniture. He did not talk much and stayed away from the crowd. People in the town liked him, but they also found him a little strange. He had once been married, though most people didn't know much about it. The woman came into his life quietly and left in the same way. Some people said she had an odd way of speaking, and she didn't seem like someone from around here. She never visited shops or joined any town gatherings. Then one day, she was gone, and Tom never said a word about her. That was 3 years ago. Now, Tom lived alone. His house was small but neat, with tools hanging on every wall and shelves full of old books and metal parts. Every evening after work, he sat in his backyard and looked up at the stars. He liked the silence. It helped him think. One evening, just as the sun dipped behind the hills, the ground gave a soft shake. It was not strong, but it was enough to rattle the windows and make the birds fly away. Tom stood still, holding a glass of water. He looked around, waiting for more, but the shaking stopped. Tom shrugged and sat back down. As the night came, the stars grew brighter. He felt a strange warmth on his left wrist when he pulled up his sleeve. His eyes widened. A soft blue mark was glowing on his skin. It was shaped like a small circle with 3 thin lines running across it. He had not seen that mark in years. It had faded after she left. Now it was back, and it was glowing. Tom stared at it, confused. He touched it gently, but it didn't hurt. The light was soft, almost peaceful, but it meant something. It reminded him of her. He stood up and looked at the sky. The stars looked different. One group of stars was slowly moving across the sky. That was not normal. Stars don't move like that, not unless they're not stars. He took a deep breath and went inside. Tom didn't sleep much that night. He kept looking at his wrist, then out the window. The air felt heavier than usual. Even the usual wind that passed through the desert was quiet. The silence felt full, like something was about to happen. The next morning, Tom woke up early. The blue mark was still there. He tried to ignore it and went to work like always. At the repair shop, he fixed a broken toaster and worked on a tractor's engine. But he couldn't focus. His mind kept going back to that mark. During lunch, he sat outside the shop with a cup of coffee. His friend Peter came and sat beside him. "You look tired, Tom," Peter said. "Didn't sleep much," Tom replied. "Storm coming?" "No storm," Tom said, showing his wrist. This came back. Peter looked at the mark. "You get a tattoo or something?" Tom shook his head. "It's not a tattoo. It's something else." Peter raised an eyebrow. "That from her?" Tom nodded. Peter fell silent for a moment. Then he gave a soft laugh. "You always said she wasn't normal." Tom looked away. "She wasn't after work." Tom walked home slowly. The sun was setting, and the sky was orange and pink. He looked at the sky again. That group of stars had moved again. Now they were closer. Back at home, he made tea and sat in his backyard like always. The wind had returned, but it was still quiet. The mark on his wrist was pulsing softly now, like a heartbeat. Tom felt his own heartbeat faster. He remembered the last time it had glowed. She had said it meant something was near. As night fell, a sound filled the air. It was low, like a hum, and it came from above. Tom stood up. The trees shook gently. The stars blinked. And then he saw it. A shape appeared in the sky. It was smooth and long, glowing slightly like silver. It floated down slowly, without a sound. It landed quietly behind his house in the empty field. A door opened on its side, and a soft blue light spilled out. Tom didn't move from the light. A figure stepped out. It was her. She looked just like before. Same soft features, same calm eyes, same quiet way of moving. Her clothes were different. This time, smooth and glowing faintly. She walked up to him slowly. "Hello, Tom," she said. Tom stared at her, speechless. "I know I left without a word," she said. "But I had to. I had no choice." Tom looked at the mark on his wrist. Why is this glowing? They found you, she said softly. You're in danger. Who? She looked at the sky. Not from this world. Tom felt cold. Why? Now, they were watching, waiting. But something changed. Now they're coming for you. And you? Tom asked. I came back to protect you, she said. We have to leave before morning. Tom didn't speak. He looked into her eyes. They were the same, but they held something new, a deep worry. He nodded once. She smiled, just a little. Then she looked around. We must hurry. Time is short. And just like that, Tom's quiet life ended. Something had returned, not just his past. Something far bigger. He didn't know where it was all leading. But he knew one thing. She came back. And this time, she was not going to leave him behind. Tom stood quietly under the stars. The silver ship behind his house made no sound. Its surface looked smooth, like glass, and it reflected the night sky. The woman standing before him was the same one who had vanished 3 years ago. Her name was Lena. She looked at Tom with the same calm eyes he remembered. Her face still had that soft beauty that once made him fall in love. She hadn't changed at all. Not a single wrinkle. Not even a sign of time. Tom didn't know what to say. So many questions filled his mind, but none of them came out. Lena took a step closer. I know this is strange, she said, but I need you to trust me. Tom looked at her carefully. You left without saying anything. I waited for months. Lena nodded slowly. I had no choice. My world called me back. I broke a rule. By staying here with you, I thought they would forget about it, but they didn't. Now they've found you. Tom looked down at the glowing mark on his wrist. And this, it's a tracker, she explained. It was meant to keep you connected to me. I turned it off when I left, but something reactivated it. Why now? Tom asked. They've been searching this area. When that small quake happened yesterday, it created a signal that opened your tracker again. Now they know where you are. Tom sat down on a wooden chair. His hands were shaking slightly. He wasn't scared, just confused. Everything felt like a dream. Lena sat beside him. You're not in trouble, Tom, but they want to take you back with them. You're part of an old plan. What plan? He asked. Lena took a deep breath. Years ago, my people were curious about humans. We wanted to understand emotions, choices, and the meaning of connection. You were part of a quiet study. But something happened. I started feeling what humans feel. I didn't want to just observe. I fell in love with you, and that was against the rules. Tom blinked. You mean you didn't plan to stay forever? I did, she said softly. But they found out. They called me back. And I had to choose between you and my world. I couldn't bring you with me then. It was too dangerous. So I left, hoping they would forget. But they didn't. Tom looked up at the ship. And now you came back. To save me. Yes, she replied. They're coming. I don't know how much time we have. But I won't let them take you. Tom stood up. Then we should leave. Lena smiled slightly. I hoped you'd say that. They went inside. Tom packed a small bag with some clothes and tools. He didn't ask many questions. He didn't argue. Deep down, he trusted her. Even after all these years, that trust hadn't faded. While he packed, Lena stood near the window, watching the sky. Tom noticed. Do you think they're close? They're already nearby, she said. They don't come in loud ways. They move quietly. They will send signals first, test the air, then come closer. Tom walked over to the shelf and pulled out a small photo frame. It had a picture of him and Lena from long ago. He looked at it for a moment, then placed it in the bag. Do you still remember this day? He asked. Lena looked at the photo and smiled. That was the day you fixed my bike. You didn't need help, he said. I did, she replied, smiling gently. I just didn't want to say it. They left the house through the back door. The ship had changed slightly. A door had opened on the side, and a ramp had lowered onto the ground. The ship didn't look scary. It looked peaceful, like something that didn't belong to this world but didn't want to harm it either. Lena turned to Tom. We won't go far yet. I've hidden something nearby. It will help block the signal for a few hours. They walked past the field behind the house and into a patch of trees. After a few minutes, Lena stopped and pulled out a small silver box from under a stone. She opened it and pressed a few buttons. A soft hum filled the air. "What does it do?" Tom asked. "It creates a bubble," she explained, "like a quiet space where they can't track us. It will give us time." They returned to the ship. But Lena didn't take off. Instead, they sat inside, where soft blue lights glowed on the walls. The seats were smooth and comfortable. The inside was quiet, with no sound of engines. Tom looked around. "It's not like anything I've seen," Lena nodded. "It's not made for speed. It's made for safety." Tom leaned back. "What happens next?" Lena looked at him. "We wait. If they try to reach out, we'll hear the signal. But I've sent a message to someone I trust, someone from my world who understands. If they answer, we may have a way out." Tom nodded. "And if they don't?" Lena didn't answer. For a long while, they sat in silence. The stars moved slowly. Outside, the blue mark on Tom's wrist had stopped glowing. The ship kept them safe inside the bubble. Tom looked at Lena. "You still look the same." Lena smiled. "Time moves slower for me." "Do you miss it?" he asked. "Your world?" "Sometimes," she said. "But not the part that made me leave you." Tom looked out the window. "You came back. That's what matters." Lena placed her hand on his. "And this time, I won't leave you behind." In that quiet night, under the stars, Tom felt something he hadn't felt in years. Not fear, not confusion, but a strange kind of peace. Even though the unknown was waiting, he wasn't alone. And that made all the difference. Morning light touched the crystal walls of the palace. Soft wind passed through the trees outside, making the leaves sing quietly. Tomo stood near the edge of the balcony, looking toward the distant hills. The air was fresh and cool. It had been many days since his crash, but each morning still felt like the first dot behind him. Rollo entered with a gentle voice. "You look calm today." Tomo smiled slightly. "This world has a way of doing that." Rollo nodded. "You are learning fast. Many guests do not feel peace here so quickly." Tomo turned to him. "Maybe I needed peace more than I thought." He walked back inside, where his small tools lay neatly on a low table. The communicator device, now patched with local materials, blinked softly. It had taken him a long time to fix the signal. Last night, for the first time since his crash, he sent a message back to Earth. Now he waited. A soft sound came from the device. A blue light blinked 3 times. Rollo looked at it. "That is your world's signal?" Tomo nodded quickly. "It's a reply." He pressed the button gently. A voice came through, slow and broken, but clear enough to understand. "Tomo. Receiving you. Location unknown. Rescue ship being prepared. Hold position." Tomo's hands tightened. "They're coming." Rollo stepped back. "You must tell the queen." Tomo stood up. "Yes. She should know." He followed Rollo through the quiet halls. The palace felt different today. Not in a bad way, but as if something important was near. When they reached the garden room, Queen Nero was already waiting. She stood beside a pool of clear water, watching the golden fish swim. She turned when she saw Tomo. Her eyes were calm as always, but he noticed something more, a deep thought behind them. "You received your message," she said. Tomo nodded. "Earth is sending a ship. They will arrive soon." Nero looked back at the pool. "I expected this." Tomo took a step closer. "I didn't ask them to come. I only wanted them to know I was safe." "You did the right thing," she said. "No one should be left without answers." He waited a moment, then spoke softly. "Will your people allow the ship to land?" "We are not afraid of visitors," Nero replied. "But we watch closely. Our world is hidden for a reason. Long ago, others came with loud hearts and heavy hands. We do not wish to repeat that time." Tomo lowered his head. "Earth is still learning." She smiled gently. "And so are we." There was silence for a while. The fish in the pool made tiny ripples on the water's surface. Then Nero spoke again, her voice quieter. "Tomo, I must tell you something." He looked up, sensing the weight in her words. "Do you remember the night of the dream joining?" she asked. "Yes," he said. "I remember the warmth, the light. It was not like anything I've known." Nero walked slowly to the garden wall, where soft flowers climbed up to the roof. That was more than just a meeting of thought. Among my people, such a bond is rare. It must come from pure trust and shared peace. She turned to face him. That night, something awakened. A new life was created inside me. Tomel stared at her, not fully understanding. I'm carrying your child, Tomel, she said gently. He stood still, his breath caught in his throat. How is that possible? Our kind does not give life through touch, she explained. We give it through connection. If the minds join fully, and if their emotions are true, life may begin. It is rare, even for us. But the bond between us was strong. Tomel sat down slowly on a stone bench. His hands rested on his knees. His heart beat a little faster now. Not from fear, but from something he couldn't name. You're sure? He asked. Nir-El nodded. The signs are clear. The child grows inside me. It carries a part of you, and a part of me. He looked at her, his eyes wide. What does this mean? It means a new path is open, she said. One that belongs to both our worlds. Tomel sat in silence. He thought about Earth, the busy cities, the loud machines, the endless talking. Then he looked at Nirel, calm, patient, full of quiet strength. A child born of two worlds, he whispered. That's never happened before. Never, she said. You are the first human to land here. And this has never happened even among our people. A child born from dream bond with an outsider is something we only heard in old stories. Tomel stood again. He walked slowly to the pool and looked at the water. His reflection stared back, a man who had arrived by accident, now part of something greater than he ever imagined. He turned to Nirel. What will your people say? They will listen, she said. Some will worry. Some will be silent. But in time, they will see this as a gift. Tomel looked down. And Earth? If they learn about this, they must not take the child, Nirel said firmly. Not as a subject. Not as a mystery. This life is not an experiment. It is a bridge. Tomel met her eyes. I won't let them. I promise, she smiled. I believe you. The wind passed through the trees again, as if the world itself was listening. A new life was beginning, not just inside the queen, but in the space between two distant stars. Tomel walked back toward the palace with her. His thoughts were full, not of escape, not of rescue, but of the strange future that now waited for all of them. Life on the Serenity Flame continued quietly, but something had changed. The peaceful ship still floated among the stars. Its silver hull still shined. But soft whispers had started to rise. Princess Mira and Ravi had become the topic of quiet conversation. The Lunari were not a loud people. They did not gossip like humans. But they noticed everything. And now, many noticed the time Mira spent with the human technician. Their walks through the gardens, the quiet conversations in the music rooms, and the way Mira looked at Ravi not as a guest, but as something more. One morning, while Ravi was adjusting a light circuit in a quiet hallway, Telin, the elder Lunari, who first welcomed him, approached. May I speak with you, Ravi? He asked in a calm voice. Ravi stood up. Of course. Telin's eyes were soft, but serious. You have grown close to Princess Mira. Ravi hesitated. We talk. She asks about Earth. I answer. Telin nodded slowly. She is young, curious, and you are kind, but she carries a future far greater than many understand. Some on the council worry. Worry about what? Ravi asked. That her feelings may grow beyond learning, Telin replied. And that yours may grow too. Ravi stayed silent. Telin looked at him kindly. This ship is a bridge between our worlds, but even bridges can break if they carry too much weight to fast. I never meant to cause trouble, Ravi said. I believe you. Telin replied. Still, be careful. The path between two stars is long. Later that day, Mira found Ravi near the observation room. She noticed his quiet expression. Did someone speak to you? She asked. Ravi looked up at her. Yes, Telin. Mira sat beside him. Let me guess. He told you I must be careful. He's worried about you, Ravi said. About what people will say. Mira nodded. The council sees with old eyes. They think I'm still a child with soft thoughts. You're not a child, Ravi said. I know, she replied. But to them, I'm not fully grown until I follow the path chosen for me. And what is that path? He asked. Mira looked. Out the window, stars passed slowly, like silent dancers in space. They expect me to join with another Lunari, she said, to guide the next era with calm and balance. But balance without choice is only stillness. Ravi didn't know what to say, so he asked, Do you regret meeting me? Mira turned her face toward him. No. You woke something inside me. A question I never dared to ask. He looked at her. Which question? She didn't answer. Instead, she asked one of her own. Do humans always ask questions when they are afraid to speak their feelings? Ravi smiled slightly. Maybe. For the next few days, Mira and Ravi stayed apart more often. She was called to more council meetings. Ravi worked longer shifts. Their paths still crossed, but the quiet between them grew. One evening, Mira waited in the Garden of Silence. It was where she first began to understand Ravi's way of thinking. The soft floating lights moved gently above the stone floor. The flowers gave off a faint blue glow. She waited, but Ravi did not come. She sat on the edge of the small fountain, watching the water ripple. A strange heaviness rested in her chest. It was not fear. It was not anger. It was something new. Later that night, Ravi stood alone in his small quarters. He looked at the silver shell Mira had once given him. It still glowed gently in the dark. He held it in his hands and wondered if he had made a mistake by stepping back. He remembered her eyes when she asked about love. He remembered the way her voice became softer when they spoke of feelings. And now, all that was silent. He didn't sleep much that night. The next morning, Ravi stood at his work desk when a message arrived on his screen. It was from Mira. Tonight is the farewell festival. Come to the High Garden. I will be there. He read the words twice, then once more. The farewell festival was held before any major voyage. It was a tradition of the Lunari to give thanks to space and stars for safe travel. There would be music, made of light, dances of memory, and shared silence under the stars. That evening, the whole ship began to glow in soft gold and white. Lunari wore robes of shifting color. The halls echoed with peaceful music. Ravi walked slowly toward the high garden, unsure what to expect. When he entered, he saw Mira standing near the edge of the garden, where the stars looked closer. She wore a robe of deep blue, decorated with symbols of the moon and wind. Her hair was tied with silver thread. You came, she said softly. I didn't want to, he said. But I had to. She smiled. Good, because I wanted you to. See this? Then she stepped forward and danced. It was not a fast dance, not loud. It was full of slow turns, gentle movements, and open arms as she danced. Lights moved around her like wind. The Lunari nearby watched in silence. Some smiled. Some looked surprised. But no one stopped her. When she finished, she walked to Ravi and held out her hand. Come, she said. He stepped forward, unsure, but trusted her. Together, they stood near the garden's edge. The stars above looked endless, the music around. Then faded slowly. Mira turned to Ravi. I have one more question, she said. He nodded. She looked into his eyes. Why did you stop coming? Ravi looked down. I didn't want to hurt you, or your future. You hurt me more by leaving, she replied, because I didn't ask for protection. I asked for truth. She took a breath. So now I ask it clearly. Say it, human, do you love me? Ravi looked at her. The moment was quiet. The stars above waited. Then he spoke. The soft wind moved through the high garden. Stars above blinked slowly. The music had faded. Lights floated quietly like small fireflies in the air. Ravi stood close to Mira. Her hand was still reaching toward him. Her eyes waited for his answer. Say it, human, she had asked. Do you love me? Ravi's heart beat loudly in his chest. His mouth was dry. He had been thinking about this for many days. But now that she was asking him directly, he wasn't sure how to say it. He looked at her face. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't afraid. She was simply waiting. I don't know the perfect words, Ravi said slowly. But yes, I do. I love you. Mira didn't speak at once. She took in his words, like she was holding them inside herself. Then she finally spoke. I wasn't expecting that answer, she said. Because I'm human, Ravi asked. Mira shook her head gently. Because I didn't know if love was real or only part of your stories. It's real, Ravi said. At least, this is real. Mira looked up at the stars, then back at him. Then I'm glad I asked. They stood in silence for a while, side by side, watching the lights around them. The farewell festival continued below, from the garden's edge. They could see other Lunari dancing slowly in the large open hall, dressed in robes of flowing light. No one looked toward them now. The music was soft. The night was calm. Mira looked at Ravi again. I don't know what happens next. Neither do I, Ravi replied. But I want to find out. With you. She nodded. So do I. The festival went on for many hours. Mira and Ravi stayed together, speaking softly about their memories, their worlds, and their hopes. Mira told Ravi about her childhood in the crystal towers, how she used to stare at the stars for hours. She had always wondered if someone else, somewhere far away, thought the same thoughts. Ravi shared stories about growing up near the forests, of Earth, climbing trees, fixing old radios, and looking at the moon, wondering what it would be like to meet someone from another world. They both laughed quietly when they realized they had shared the same wish as children, just from two very different skies. Later, Mira gave Ravi a small glass pendant. It looked like a drop of water with a star inside. This is called a Saren pearl, she said. It forms when a Lunari keeps a secret close to the heart for a long time. Ravi held the small pearl in his hand. And this was yours? She nodded. Now it's not a secret anymore. Ravi kept the pearl close and said nothing more. His heart was full. But not everyone on the ship was happy about the growing bond between the two. In a quiet chamber far from the gardens, 3 members of the Lunari Council sat in soft chairs, speaking in low voices. She is drifting from her purpose, said one elder. The human's presence has changed her. Her thoughts are not as clear. She dances in public, not for the stars, but for him, another added. This cannot go unnoticed. The council decided that they would need to speak to Mira soon, not to stop her completely, but to remind her of who she was and what her future was meant to be. The next morning, Mira was called to the crystal room. She entered calmly, her eyes clear. The 3 elders waited in a circle. You have shared many days with the human, the first elder began. Yes, Mira said. He is kind. He listens. He understands more than I expected. The second elder leaned forward. You are not a child anymore, Mira. Soon, choices must be made. Your bond with the human may cloud your path. Mira stood tall. It does not cloud my path. It has helped me see more clearly. But what you see may not be accepted by all, said the third elder. Mira did not look away. I did not ask for acceptance. I asked for truth, and I found it. The first elder spoke again. We do not forbid friendship, but you must think carefully about what you give and what you receive. The heart can be deep, but our people follow. Balance. Do not forget that. I have not forgotten, Mira said softly. But balance without feeling is just silence. I choose to live with both. The elders said no more. They did not stop her, but their eyes showed concern. Mira left the chamber without fear. Later that evening, Ravi met her in the small music hall. He had heard whispers. He had seen faces turn when she walked by. Are you okay? He asked. I am, she replied. Did they say something? He asked again. They reminded me of my path, she said. And is that path still with me? Ravi asked carefully. Mira looked at him with warmth in her eyes. It is, if you walk with me. Ravi smiled. Always? They sat beside each other as soft music played from the walls. The notes were light and slow, almost like a heartbeat. In that moment, the stars above did not matter. The worries of 2 worlds faded. There was only a boy and a girl from different skies, sitting together, in a room filled with music and quiet understanding. And though the universe was wide and full of questions, they had found one answer in each other. The days after the farewell festival passed quietly, but something had changed. People on the Lunari ship looked at Ravi differently now. Some smiled kindly. Others turned their faces still. The air between him and Mira felt even warmer. They spent more time together, walking through quiet gardens, studying ancient star maps, sharing stories under the light of the twin moons. But both knew something was coming. The Earth team had finally sent a signal. A ship was on its way to retrieve Ravi. Only 5 days remained. One evening, while watching the glowing sky river pass over the ship dome, Ravi turned to Mira. Her silver hair moved softly in the wind. She looked calm, but her eyes held questions. "I have to go," Ravi said. "But I don't want to lose this." "This," Mira repeated. "You mean us?" He nodded. "I never planned this. I didn't even think something like this was possible. But now that it's real, I want to protect it." Mira looked at the stars. "Love is rare, Ravi. Even among my people, many live long lives and never feel it. But we found it between two different worlds." Ravi leaned closer. "So what do we do now?" Mira took something from her robe. It was a small cube made of soft crystal. Inside, a slow light moved like a quiet wave. "This is a memory stone," she explained. "It records more than pictures. It holds moments, feelings, sounds, even thoughts." She placed the stone in his hand. It felt warm. "This holds our time together," she said. "Your voice, your stories, our walks, our music, even the sound of your laugh." Ravi looked down at it, then back at her. "Thank you. I'll keep it with me always. I will make one too," she added. "A mirror of this one. If you ever speak into yours, the sound will reach mine." Ravi smiled gently. "Like a call across the stars?" Mira nodded. "Yes." The next day, Mira took Ravi to a place few outsiders had ever seen. It was called the Chamber of Echoes, a quiet place deep inside the ship, where Lunari thoughts could be heard as light and song. They stood in the center of the round room. The floor below them lit up with soft blue rings. "Speak what is true," Mira said. "The chamber will remember it." Ravi looked around. He felt unsure at first, but then he took a breath. "I love Mira," he said. "She changed my life. And even if I return to Earth, I won't forget her. I will find a way back. I promise." As he spoke, the rings below his feet turned gold. Above him, a gentle sound began to play, a simple melody filled with hope and light. The chamber had accepted as truth. Then it was Mira's turn. She stepped forward and spoke clearly. "I love Ravi. He gave me something I thought only stories held. He saw me, not just as a princess, but as a person. And no matter where he goes, I will wait." The sound above changed. Her voice joined with his. The two melodies danced together. The light spun gently, wrapping around them in soft waves. For a moment, it felt like time had stopped. After they left the chamber, they walked in silence. There was nothing more to say. The truth had already been spoken. That night, Mira sat alone in her study. Her hand touched a small screen showing the Earth retrieval ship getting closer. Soon, Ravi would have to go. She knew it was the right thing, but the right thing often carried pain. She wrote a short message for the Earth team. "The human is well. We will prepare him for return." Then she stood up and looked at the stars again. "Please guide him home," she whispered, "and bring him back one day." On the final day, Mira and Ravi stood at the landing bay. A small shuttle waited behind him. It would take him to the main Earth ship that now floated nearby. Neither of them spoke at first. Ravi held her hand gently. "This isn't goodbye," he said. "Just a pause." Mira nodded. "We will see each other again." "You really believe that?" he asked. "I do," she said, "because truth never disappears. It waits." He took out the memory stone. "One more time. I'll speak into this every night, and I'll listen," Mira said. Ravi took one step back, then another. The shuttle door opened. Before he entered, he looked at her one last time. She didn't wave. She just stood still, like the stars behind her. And as the shuttle lifted into the sky, Mira whispered, Safe journey, my heart. From above, Ravi saw the Lunari ship shining like a quiet jewel in space. He pressed the memory stone to his chest and closed his eyes. Inside the crystal, Mira's voice echoed softly, "I will wait." Ravi sat quietly inside the Earth ship as it flew through space. He looked out the window and watched the stars move past behind him. The Lunari ship was already out of sight, but in his heart, the memory of Mira was bright and clear. He held the small memory stone in his hand. It felt warm, as if it still carried her touch. He pressed it close to his ear and spoke softly, "I miss you already." A soft hum came from the crystal. It was her voice, faint but real. "I miss you too." Ravi closed his eyes. The voice gave him strength. When he landed back on Earth, many people were waiting. Scientists, officers, and reporters asked him questions. They wanted to know everything about the alien ship, the Lunari people, and his time there. He answered with honesty, but he kept some memories to himself. The moments with Mira were too special to share with cameras and notebooks. After the questions were over, Ravi met with a team of leaders. They wanted to know if peaceful contact could continue. "Yes," Ravi said. "The Lunari are calm, wise, and peaceful. They don't want war or power. They only wish to understand and grow." The leaders discussed his report for many weeks. Finally, they decided to send a peaceful message to the Lunari. It was the start of something new. Ravi helped build the message. It carried Earth's music, poems, pictures, and language. He also added one thing of his own, a drawing he had made of Mira standing under the twin moons. Months passed. Ravi worked with the space research team, but every night he sat in his room and spoke to the memory stone. He shared what he learned, how the sky looked from Earth, and how he missed her voice. And many nights, the stone would hum softly with her reply. Then, one morning, the message came, a signal from the Lunari ship. A reply had arrived. The message was short but beautiful. A soft voice in the Lunari language, followed by music. At the end, Mira's voice spoke in perfect Earth language. "We remember, we wait, and soon we meet again." Ravi's heart beat faster. A year passed, then another. The two worlds began to share knowledge. The Lunari sent peaceful messages, and Earth sent more learning tools and art. Soon, both sides agreed to create something new, a place where both humans and Lunari could live, learn, and grow together. It was called the Star Bridge Station. The station floated between Earth and the Lunari ship. It was shaped like a star, with long arms reaching into space. It had rooms for both species, with air, food, and light that worked for all. Ravi was invited to live there. He said yes without delay. When he arrived, he walked through wide glass halls and soft light chambers, and then, at the center of the station, he saw her. Mira stood beside a round table made of crystal. Her silver hair flowed gently. Her calm eyes met his, and her lips curved into a soft smile. Ravi took one step, then another. No words were needed. They stood close, their hands meeting once more. For a long moment, the stars outside the glass felt still. "I kept the memory stone," Ravi said. "So did I," Mira whispered. "But now, we can speak without it." They laughed softly, and the sound was gentle like wind through trees. In the days that followed, they worked together to build a new future. Lunari and human students learned side by side. Artists painted the skies. Scientists shared new knowledge. Musicians made songs with two worlds' instruments. One day, Mira took Ravi to a quiet room filled with soft light. There, floating in a pool of energy, was a small glowing shape. Ravi looked closer. It was a seed, but not just any seed. It had both Earth and Lunari energy inside it. "This is our gift," Mira said. "A life form born from both worlds, a living symbol of peace and hope." Ravi touched the glass. "It's beautiful," she smiled. "We made it together." Later, during a gathering on the station, Mira stood in front of both Earth and Lunari guests. She spoke of love, connection, and the strength found in trust. Ravi stood beside her, holding her hand. Their story, once hidden in silence, was now a light that guided others. At the end of her speech, Mira turned to Ravi and asked softly, "Say it again." "One more time." He smiled. "I love you." And the room was silent for a moment. Then came the sound of soft music from both Lunari flutes and earth strings. Mira stepped closer. "Now the stars know." Ravi looked out at space. "They always did." The Star Bridge station continued to grow. More people came. More friendships were born. And among the stars, the story of a human and an alien princess became a tale told by many. A tale of two hearts from two worlds that chose to love, no matter the distance. And every night, as lights dimmed across the station, Ravi and Mira sat under the wide sky window, holding hands, watching the stars move slowly across the black. In those quiet moments, words were not needed, because some truths, once spoken, live forever.